Hello, welcome to the training Digital Marketing with dotCMS. As a marketing team, you are at the front line of the execution of your company's digital agenda, whether this is focused on optimizing, transforming the business, or both. dotCMS brings the content foundation and no-code tools to build connected, trusted, and continuous customer experiences. The digital marketing application landscape typically looks like this. There's a content management system to support the digital touchpoints. There's a marketing platform, digital asset management, a personalization engine, and a transactional platform, whether that's a systems of record, an e-commerce engine, or an ERP system. In this training, we will train you on the tools that help you to build omni-channel digital experiences. In this training, we will build a very common page type that is used over and over, namely the landing page. And for our fictitious travel company, we will build a new page template from scratch that will help you to deliver hyper-personalized customer experiences. We will also show how easy it is to create future landing pages once you have one set up. Before I hand over to Dean, I have some housekeeping items. This training will be recorded and will be shared with you afterwards. At the end of the training, we will open up for QA. You can post your questions in the chat box of GoToWebinar. That's it. Dean, please take it away.
Okay, thank you, Stefan. One of the most recurring activities in a digital marketing team is building a landing page in dotCMS. Customers who want to start with even a headless dotCMS soon realize it makes sense to have this supported by the native dotCMS tools due to its high level of no-code, resulting in quick time to market and having a positive impact on the total cost of ownership and return on investment. So what we're going to do together is create a new landing page. So on our starter, we've got a destinations section here, which has got many different kind of travel experiences. So what we're going to do is log in on the back end and create a totally new landing page from scratch. So we can do this with just /admin at the end, a quick login, and then go to our site browser, and in this destinations directory I'm going to add a new page from scratch. Okay, so select a new page content type, and I'm going to go ahead and call this new content Tanzania. Okay, so we're going to create a little Tanzania page, and we're going to go ahead and publish the simple page and click edit on our page. Now we want more than just the simple standard layout that our webmaster may have given us as a couple of template choices. This is just a one column template. So we're going to go instantly to lay out the kind of page that we want. We're going to have a banner up on the top, which this is fine, but we want a couple more rows down underneath. So we're just going to add a couple more containers, decide what size we want them, and we'll just keep using the default container that our webmaster gave us that should handle all of our content types. Nice and easy. We switch back to content, we click edit, and now we've got all of those different areas of a page. Now I can drop a banner up here on the top and then add some information about this Serengeti safari. So we choose content, and we're not going to choose any of the existing content, otherwise we could just choose one of those, but we're going to choose, and this is all of the different types of content our webmaster has allowed us to place. So we're going to add a new banner. So the first thing we're going to do in the banner is just choose some Serengeti elephants. So then we're going to simply name it, choose a caption, maybe some button text. And if I had a real link, I would put it here, or I could put a browse button here if I was the webmaster. And I'd choose some text color, so you can add a color picker on any content field that you want to choose colors for buttons. And let's tag it Tanzania and Serengeti. so that those tags will now be in the system. We can use those to tag promotions, etc., etc. Now I need to choose a layout, so I need to decide what type of layout will be best. Now we've got just some standard pictures that show you kind of where the text will headline out. So I think I want it in the center for this, so I'm just going to choose layout 1 and save and publish that content on the page. So now I've got my banner content on the page, and now I want to add some content over here on the left and right, just using some basic WYSIWYGs. So I'm going to add a regular content, and this time I'm going to choose rich text, which will just have a standard WYSIWYG. And this time I'm going to add first an overview and save and publish that on my page, and then add a few more just rich text pieces. Very, very easy. Add a little route and mapping. Okay, so now that we've pasted that, about our tours. And save and publish that information about our activities. There we go. Save and publish. Okay, and you don't have to create everything from scratch on everything and every container. You can also reuse content. So if you have already created something like tour information or something on another page, you can also just click on content and then add maybe accommodation information, which is down here. And then I'll reuse, instead of adding new, some other content that was already added about tours in the system. And then that'll just automatically be reused here and wherever else that you're using this content on a page. And every piece of content has, once you place it on a page, has a references tab that'll tell you exactly what page that content is being used on, so you can keep the complete view of where it's being used. So now on the right hand side, we're going to add a no code form. So the first thing I want to do is add some sort of maybe little rich text header or something like that. So I'll just add a new rich text, request a quote. So maybe then now I'll just go ahead and put this inside of an H3. There we go. And save and publish that on the page. Now I'm going to add a form. So what I can do here is go to marketing and forms and create a new form. And so I don't have to leave my page, I can just open this up in a new tab. And I just want to show you where you can create new forms. So to create a new form, you just simply click here, name your form, request a quote, and create, and it's going to give you some automatic fields here. Now in the form email, it's just who do you want to receive the feedback from the form. So I'm going to put my own email. So dean@dotcms.com, so I'm the only one to get spam, but you could comma separate that list. And then on a successful callback, where do you want it to go? And this is, it automatically has a window location of, thank you, and then the ID, of this particular piece of content. So you can leave it as default or you can change it. I happen to have a page set up here for this particular thank us, that is right here. So I'm going to save that as my callback. Now I can start dragging and dropping the fields I want. So if I want a first name, so I'm going to go ahead and just drag and drop first name. Maybe it's required, show in list, and the last name. Then I want the email. And I can use regex validation. We have some standard validations here, so I can use email if I wish. That way I can send them back information instantly by injecting this into a workflow. I'll add a start date. And the number of adults that I want, I guess I'll make that just a select. Put my select choices and the number of adults in their party. So I'll put the number of children, but that necessarily doesn't need to be required. So I'll go ahead and click Save on that. And now I've got this form ready to be placed on the page. Right? Now I can just add my form here. It shows up. And now I've got this form ready to submit. And I can select number of adults and children in my group, the date that I'd like to start my vacation, and submit this form directly. So we'll be able to see this form content under the content type once we've submitted our content. So we'll switch it over to live mode, publish our page, and let's go ahead and submit this request. So I'll say, I don't know, put my name here. So and you see our validation taking effect. But my start date is March 19th, my birthday, and I'll have 2 adults and 1 child, and I'll go ahead and submit this front end form. It goes instantly to my thank you page, and I should be able to come here to the content search manager and then go to that content, which is just like any other content here under request a quote, and see instantly that. And I should have already received an email to my email, which is the same as the request email. But you can see how easy it is to then track the content, receive the emails from the content, and begin the whole process of collecting that information from your front end. Okay, so now that we've submitted our form, we want to then maybe show you how to add some personalized content, add a new content type into the system, once again with no code. First, I wanted to show you the content type for personalization. So we have some personas already here in the system, so I want to add something to go with that Tanzania safari enthusiast. So I'm just going to add a new piece of content. And just let that key tag populate. And I'm going to add a safari couple here. Right? And I'm going to add maybe some other tags like Tanzania and maybe Serengeti, which were already into this system, right? So I'm going to save and publish that persona content type. And now what we've got is a way to personalize the content on all of our pages or in personalized dynamic listings. But before I show you that, I want to show you how to add a new content type. So let's come over here to the content type. Let's say, just say we want to add a promo for our Safari. So I'm going to add a new content type called promotion. Right? And in that content type, maybe I'm doing promotions on multiple sites, so maybe it would add a site or folder field, for what site the promotion is for, because obviously you can do lots of multi-tenant. Then I would add some sort of text. So add the title. Then maybe I would do an image, so maybe I want to add a row experience, so we can actually just drag those two over here, get rid of that row, and let me add a binary over here. And just call it promo image, right? Super easy. Now maybe I want to add a link, so I'm going to just grab text, maybe make it a URL map pattern, and URL, and save. So I also want the ability to personalize that content using that new persona that we added. So for that, we would add a tag field here. So here we'll just call this tag. Make it user searchable, sure. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and add this promo onto, let's go ahead and add it onto our home page. Okay, so if I wanted to personalize this page, or at least create a different layout for it or different content items for the home page. I'm going to do it in a really simplistic way. There's much more developed ways to do it dynamically, even with personalized widgets. But I'm going to add, now that I've got my Safari enthusiast here, a different version of this page if the user has been identified as someone who's interested in Safaris. That's our persona that's showing up here. So now if I go to edit mode after I'm previewing, it says, are you sure you want to personalize the content for the Safari enthusiast? I accept that, and now it brings me into edit mode. So maybe for the Safari enthusiast, I want to add a completely different banner. So I'm going to content, and I'm going to use that same banner that I used on the other page. And maybe over here I want to add an activity. So I've already added a different activity. Maybe I want to add it over here first. So I'm going to move snowmobiles down here, and I'm going to add a new activity here, which would be my Safari. And I would probably later want to add something else, but I'll just leave it like that for now. Okay, so if my persona is recognized as a Safari enthusiast, I want that first. I want the banner up on top, and maybe I want to add a promo. So I could add a promo anywhere. So I'm going to add content and add promotion. So that's the new content type that we just created, right? So I'm going to search for an image. Here's my Safari promo image. And then I would put my URL. Maybe I'll just use my destinations URL from before. So maybe it'll be just destinations Tanzania. And you can always get the URL from a page just by clicking on this little copy button right here. So I've copied that. I can just paste that URL right there, and then mark it, Tanzania with those same tags, and most importantly, Serengeti, and with that new persona. This is how you can actually personalize your content on an individual level, so that if you're pulling a dynamic widget, you can do that. And so we add that Safari enthusiast, and you can see that's got a different personalization icon to go with it. So now we've personalized that content. Okay, so I save and publish my content, and now I can see that new promotion, and I can drag and drop this promotion anywhere that I want, but I can also click on that promotion and go to that new page using that URL that we put into the content. How would we set up an automated, if someone had visited this particular page because they were interested in that destination, how would we automatically associate them with the persona that we created? So here we have, under marketing on the left hand side, we have a rules engine. So we can set this rules engine up on a single page, and this same exact rules engine here appears on page properties in the rules tab. Or I could set up a rule site-wide. So I can set up my Safari visitor rule, and once I add this new rule with a title, I can go ahead and select a condition, and we can browser language, current URL, device type. If they're of a certain device type, under device type I can pick any device type that I want to target. I can has visited a certain URL. If they are of a certain persona, that can be a condition as well as an action. Visitor's operating system, the country that they are, their visitor's location within the world. Click on show map and geolocate within a certain range. But I'm just going to use something simplistic for expediency's sake, and I'm going to paste that URL. So if someone has visited that they're interested in Tanzania, then what I want to do is I want to take many different actions, and you can even add your own custom conditions and custom sub actions here. So I'm going to set persona equals that new persona, which is the Safari enthusiast. Once again, that persona content just keeps appearing not only on tags on content but everywhere else. Now the last thing you have to remember to do is, once you're done with all your conditions, you can add multiple conditions, and then you can add logical ands or ors between them, but you have to turn that rule on. Right? So it automatically turns off if you start editing this rule. You always have to just remember to turn it back on so that there isn't erratic behavior on your site while you're making your edits. So now that I have this rule, I shouldn't have to go and switch on my front end. Now I should visit the site from the front end. So let's go ahead and open up a new incognito window. And then I'll hit my localhost 8080 here. And then if I hit that same page that we put inside of a rule, destinations in Tanzania, I've hit that page once. Now if I go back home, the banner in the browser has automatically changed on the home page. I'm seeing that personalized look over here. I'm seeing that personalized promo over here, just simply because the rules engine rule now associated me with the certain type of visitor that is a Safari persona. Okay, so now let's spice things up a little bit more, and let's just say that some of your marketing content comes from outside your current website or content management system. So I'm going to move this over and go back to our destinations and Tanzania page. And we're going to edit once again. And let's go ahead and add maybe a promotional video to this content. So if we click on content here, and we can add video YouTube. Now you can, your webmasters can add videos that connect to your digital, your DAM to get images, to your whatever external content management system it is, a shopping cart, videos, anything, as long as it's a modern system and that you can communicate via REST API call. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to right now communicate with YouTube via REST. I'm going to search for a video about the Serengeti and get that Safari video. Click on that video and it instantly pulls down the thumbnail. It pulls down all the information about the video from any external system that is modern, has a REST API, and can be communicated with. And this is really easy for your webmasters to set up. Okay, so maybe this video is a little bit too big and we don't want it above our overview. So what we can do is we can just take it and drag and drop it, and it'll automatically adjust to fit the width of any of the layouts that you've created. So we can then publish our changes to our page and then maybe view it in preview or live mode and click on the video and it's ready to play. And that's how easy it is to create personalized pages, to add content external to dotCMS, bring it in the form of a widget, a video, it could be images, whatever you wish, to make your page as content rich as possible. Now let's just say that we wanted to have a Spanish version of this page as well, and we wanted to preview it, in multiple languages. Well, I'm going to add just something for simplicity's sake. I'm going to add to our workflow a custom sub-action under our regular system workflow to translate the content automatically for me to every language that I have installed. So if you actually have 35 different languages installed or what have you, it will do it automatically. So I've already published the content on my page, so I'm just going to, for simplicity's sake, add a publish translate button, once again with no code. I'll say who are the users that can actually see that button when the button actually appears on whatever state the content's in. And I'm just going to add a simple, although we have tons of powerful actions, I'm going to just add a translate content automatically. And I said it was going to publish, so I'll add a publish action also. So I want to first publish the content, translate the content, maybe notify the assignee. You would probably send this into a review for your Spanish, for your different language users. You'd send that to a workflow process for review, but there's not enough time to do all of that. So we're going to add that same action right after our publish. Here on each of these, and whether it's new content, sure, we'll drag it over there too. Okay, so now that's going to be available, that since our content on our pages uses the default workflow, so I can actually step right into my banner. So I'll go into edit mode on the banner, and maybe I'll shorten this down to just this. There we go. And I'm going to publish and translate. So then I should be able to just simply close this and see my English content and my Spanish content if I just flip the Spanish previewer here. But let's go ahead and come down here and translate some more of this content as well. So I'm just going to lock for editing, publish and translate. And once again, this would be done inside of a workflow, and lock for editing and publish and translate. Lock for editing and publish and translate. And here, I think that's probably enough, but publish and translate. And here, we'll do that one. Publish and translate. Okay, so now I should be able to just simply, now that I've translated this, now I didn't translate that. Here, we'll at least translate this, and then I'll stop. Okay, and the video should persist and the form should persist, although I should probably create a Spanish version of my form. Let's just quickly, well, let's first go ahead and do a Spanish preview. And now we look at all our content in Spanish. And so now I can see all of my content. The widget persists, the video widget, and also the form, although I need to create a Spanish version of my form as well. But everything else has already been translated automatically for us, and that's really a nice quick starter if you want to, instead of just simply publish and translating, you want to publish and send into a workflow so that you have someone who actually speaks the language that you're translating actually check it. But that's about as fast as it gets for creating a multilingual version of a page, right? And then if we want to preview, then we can not only test on our phone the menuing and make sure that that's still, but the wrapping, everything that we've placed on the page is our video actually wrapping in the second column, and there's our video in our form, right? And I could also preview by tablet and see what it looks like on my tablet in that other language, or switch then back to the to the English language and take a complete preview of my entire site as that device type. Okay, so next I'd like to show some SEO best practices that can be also built into all of your content types as you create content. So to do that, I'm going to go back to our home page and show how. See, I have to actually switch my persona to the Safari enthusiast, and then I've got this one over here on the left hand side, and I can then edit that. Okay, so into our activity here, you can build right in to the content, your SEO title, your SEO description, your alt tag for the image that's appearing up above. You can also add counters. So if I want my SEO title for this activity to be only 55 characters, I can put a text counter and it'll automatically count down. Now this can you can either choose to validate and enforce the validation so that the content publisher would not be able to save, or you could simply leave it nice and flexible like this one is, that it's just a recommendation for both the SEO description and the SEO title here, right? And then the alt tag for the image should automatically be picked up by your code as well. All right, in your template, you don't have to do anything special for any of your content types. You just simply add the SEO, and you can also add it in a separate tab if you want your all your SEO and all your metadata to be on a separate tab. You can do whatever you want. Now the SEO optimization here can be done on every piece of content as well as on pages. And there's a couple different ways to do 301. What if you need to do a 301 redirect for this page that we just created? Here is the SEO content for each page, and it can have those same counters on each page for the SEO description, the keywords, and everything like that. You can also add a canonical URL here, and you can also do redirects. So if you needed to redirect this to another URL, this will be a 301 redirect to pass search ranking on to the next page. So you just simply select your redirect URL. It can be any other page that you create inside of dotCMS. You just simply select your page, whatever it happens to be, and that's going to do that 301 redirect for you, right? And all of this page metadata automatically should be picked up by your templates and exposed on the page without the content publisher having to do a thing. Okay, so now let me show you how to actually take a virtual URL and point it to a page. So if we wanted to be able to reach this page with a /Safari, and have that, send that out in a campaign and have it delivered here directly to a page. So let me flip over to a local host. If we did a /Safari from the front end right now, that's going to 404. It's not going to go anywhere on our local host. So let me go to show you where you can create virtual URLs. So there's a special content type called vanity URL. So you can enter in your own redirects here that can be part of campaigns. So you can do a 200 forward, a 301 permanent redirect, 302 temporary redirect, and so I'll call this a Safari campaign. And you could, these are trackable. I could make it just for one site, for all sites, and I can do a /Safari, and that should automatically go to the page that I browse for. So I can then go to destinations and Tanzania and just have a virtual URL that will resolve and stick in the browser and get me to that other page. So I can now save and publish. And now the second that I saved that virtual URL, if I go back to my vanity URL link, you can see it delivers us to the page, so we can send this out in campaigns, we can advertise using this link, and it's going to direct to that exact page, and they will be Google trackable on how they were delivered to that page, so you can see the success of your campaign. So now let's go back to our index page. And once again, I wanted to show that here we are looking at the index page as the default visitor, but if we switch over to our Safari enthusiast, we get those multiple looks at a page, and we could keep going and further start personalizing every page in dotCMS and previewing them there with our personas. So now I'd like to show you, okay, we've created this new page, and I've done it on, on my local host, which simulates some sort of dev environment. And I've created this whole little, campaign. How do I get this new Safari content over, and maybe it's even a timed publishing over to another server? So what I've done is I've already set up in configuration and publishing environments a simple configuration to the demo server at demo.cms.com, which is obviously not my server here. I can bring that up in a local in an incognito window, and we can test this live. And what I'm going to do on this localhost server, and I'll just go to demo.cms.com. I'll just try to hit that on demo.cms.com. So I'll hit that, and obviously it does a 404 because this page only exists in my local push publishing environment, right? So I want to take maybe everything that is, my page. I want to save and publish. I want to push publish. And there's a couple of different ways you can do push publish. I could actually include it as a one-step methodology in my workflow, just like we did the machine translation. Or I can push it right now. I could actually remove the page if I realized I had pushed it too soon, or I could actually schedule it, and so push and remove. So I could schedule it for, March 1st, in the future, and then I can expire it at some other, time as well, as if I wanted to, as long as you do not set this this expire date to be after the published date. Then there will be no expiration of the content, and then I can force push it, or I could just push it right now, whatever I want to do. So I could do that, but actually I want to show you a different way. I'm going to add it to a push publishing bundle, right? So I'm going to call it Safari bundle, and show you how to group things together. So that's my Safari bundle, but I also had some content. So I can actually just get all of the content that, by just searching for all, or I could sort by content type. So I'm going to get everything here. It has to do with Tanzania. Get all of that. And I'm going to push publish this content by adding to bundle, Safari bundle. And I'll come to push publishing and go to my publishing queue, go to bundles, and I can see everything that I have bundled up there together. And now I can either download it and actually carry this little new segment of the website that I've created, around in my pocket in a thumb drive, or I could push publish it immediately. And once again, I could push it now, or I could remove it, or I could push it to the other server immediately. So I'm just going to push all of this content over to the other server. And the second I do that, it'll say that it's pending, right? It has got all of these different things that it's bundling up. And in just a few seconds, it'll actually go over to the other site. And if I want to track the actual traveling of the bundle, then I can click on status history and see it sending to all environments. And in just a few seconds, I should be able to click refresh. It says bundle is sent, and just refresh again. And I can see that there is success. So now all of that content should have made it to the other side. And now I can just hit demo.cms.com, and there is my page, right? And all of it has made over, all of the dependencies, all of the changes to the content type are all there. So now let's just say I want to create another campaign just like the one that I just did. So if I want to come here to destinations and I want to add another destination that I've just added to my package, one of the easiest ways to do something like this is simply to right click and just simply copy. And now I've got a Tanzania copy here. So now I could name that the name of my new campaign and then just start changing the content on the page. So I can just right click and go to the page properties and instantly change this to my new campaign, and save and publish. If I want to keep the same layout, that's fine. So just open up that page then, and then step into the edit mode, and then just remove that banner and add a new banner. Okay, so we can then just go ahead and, like we did before, we add our title, we choose our image, and we add a caption and some button text, maybe a link somewhere. Our color picker, our layout, we'll just leave it as layout 1, and then we would put in our new tags. And then we could go ahead and save and publish our new banner, take a look and see what it looks like, and start changing the rest of the content on the page. We would then add a new visitor, which would then be our persona for our Florida keys, the same way that we did before. Just a wash, rinse, and repeat of the same process, all in a very, very easy way to change your content, copy your content. Now, if we want a custom layout for this page, we go back and we start dragging and dropping our layout around as well. Okay, so before we wrap up, one last feature I'd like to show you would be the dotCMS time machine. So if you have time-sensitive content that you'd like to publish, let's just say, this the promo that we created earlier. Let's say we want to put it here on our Tanzania Safari page, but it's only a promo that lasts for a certain period of time. So what we're going to do is come here to the content type model for promo, and the first thing we're going to have to do is add a date and time field. So let's just add that here, and we'll call it publish date. You could call it whatever you want, and sure, and maybe it'll be required. And then maybe we want an expiry date for that promo, so we're going to also put an expire date. Once again, you could call it whatever, or maybe it's unpublished date, right? Okay, so we'll also make that user searchable and show in list so we can see when promos are going to expire. Now what I have to do, since we had earlier published that promotion, what I'm going to do is I'm going to, before I enforce it on the on the content type, I'm just going to unpublish it to make sure there's no published version of this promo. And then I'm going to go back to the content model, edit, and I'm going to then add the publish date and the expire date, or the unpublished date, as configured. Now those fields are actually controlling the date for the publishing of the content. So then we go back to this piece of content. We say that the published date will be in the future. So I'm going to set it for March. Let's just go and set it for Monday, March 2nd. I can also set it, a time if I want to. If you leave it blank, it'll be just 12 a.m. I can either unpublish never or set an expiry for that end of March. Maybe it's March only for this deal, and I want to check and make sure that on my page the content is going to automatically publish and unpublish itself on that page. So now if I try to actually lock for editing and publish, it should fail, because now what we've done by configuring that on the content type is we've said that the content fields are in control, so it should error out. That's perfect. And we just save that future published date promo. Before we actually leave this promo, let me show you one more thing that can help you deliver in a performant way your images. Now, I don't think this is a very big image. It's only 248K. But if we needed to do some sort of cropping, if we need to do resizing, if we wanted to resize our image to 300 width, we can click resize. We can do that. We could flip it. We could grayscale it. Whatever you deem appropriate. And you can also take off those filters here underneath. But one of the nicest things that you can do is actually convert the compression. So right now we are 248K, so I'm going to convert it to WebP, 65% quality, and that's going to reduce it down to a 122K image. So I can even, from this web editor, I can click the clip icon, and this will actually clip this image in this WebP compression, and then I can add it to any WYSIWYG using the clip icon in the WYSIWYG. So there's some nice tooling there. I'll save that. I'll lock for editing, and I'll save that change to the image. Now it'll serve as WebP, so some nice features there for your digital asset management. Okay, so now that I've enforced the time-sensitive published date and unpublished date fields, so then we need to go back to our page. So I'm going to go back to this page, and before I put time-sensitive content on here, I need to have a way from the home page to be able to get to this page. So I'm going to go to my page properties, and I'm going to put show on menu, and I'm going to publish that change to the page, and that means I will then have the Tanzania page here showing up. And by the way, if I wanted to reorder these, let me put Tanzania first, and I can do this. I can go to edit mode on the page. In edit mode, any of your menus should show a little toggle to be able to rearrange the menu. So let's go ahead and put Tanzania first on our list underneath our destinations here, and we could rearrange the top menu as well, and this depends upon your permissions, right? Now we should be seeing Tanzania first here in the list, and we can get to it right from this page or from our home page, right? So now we need to add that promotion. So I'm going to go back to edit mode, and I'm going to add that time-sensitive promotion here. And so I've got that Serengeti National Park promotion, which is time sensitive. I'm going to move it up to the top above our video, right? And we shouldn't be able to see this content. It's not published yet, so it should not be visible on our page. However, whenever the content publishes itself, it should be just as visible as as it is in the preview mode. Now, how do we preview this? We come over here to the publishing area and the time machine. So in the time machine, you can take a snapshot of your site in the past. It works like Wayback Time Machine, does a static HTML and bundles all of your files, your JavaScript, everything into a bundle and allows you to preview it in the past. But we're going to look in the future. I want to set it to a date right before our content is going to publish, just so you can see how we're getting there. So we then go to that Tanzania page, and you can see that our promotion does not appear. That's correct. We said it was going to appear on March 1st. So I'm just going to go to March 2nd, and we're going to then travel over to the Tanzania page, and there we see our special offer. Now we need to also make sure that this special offer is going to go away beyond March. So now let's go ahead and step over to maybe the next month, April 2nd, and make sure that whenever we go to our destination, Tanzania, that content is no longer there. So there's the time sensitive publishing of your content on your pages so that you can take any content model, add the dates, and then be able to test it and make sure that your promotions or events or any time sensitive content is going to then appear at the proper time. So those were just some of the features that I wanted to show you on the back end here in dotCMS to make the life of any content publisher very, very easy, and also have their control of the content very, very powerful. So now I'm going to pass it back to Stefan for the conclusion of our webinar.
Thanks, Dean. This was a great overview of the capabilities in dotCMS to support digital marketers. And obviously, we touched only on the highlights, and there's obviously more to this. All the things that Dean demonstrated today is also available if you deploy dotCMS in a headless fashion. So there are no restrictions with edit mode anywhere. Now, we do a lot of proof of concepts, and the most common integrations that we see are with marketing automation and with commerce solutions, right? So there are no restrictions from our end utilizing the digital marketing tools that we demonstrated in today's training. If you want to work with adjacent technologies such as marketing automation, e-commerce, CRM, and what have you. So what's next? There's a couple of things that we have addressed on our product roadmap, right? And our product team is already working on some of these items. First of all, we want to double down on engagement analytics. So we're not looking to rebuild Google Analytics and the likes. We have a native integration already. So we're really talking about analytics and data that is exclusively generated and collected by dotCMS and exposed to digital marketers as actionable insights. On top of that, we're going to build visitor scoring and A/B testing, right? That really allows you to optimize the digital experience that you want to expose to your targeted audiences. And then lastly, and this is really an ongoing process, obviously, with a product like dotCMS, ongoing UI and UX enhancements, and more specifically, we want to focus on improving the collaboration within dotCMS, right? So if you have large content marketing teams, really supporting that collaboration process is what we've addressed on our product roadmap. And now let's open up for questions.